Hello, my friends. Good morning, and welcome back to Celestial Sundays with me, Moonlit Britt, here on Shady Pines Radio. I hope you are all enjoying your Labor Day weekend so far. I know most of you have Monday off, and for those of you that have to still work on Monday, hey, you should be getting paid time and a half, right? Because you're working on a holiday. I know that I am super stoked that my boyfriend gets the day off. So I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. Today, we are going to be discussing the 12 universal laws of the universe, how they all work together, and how you can use them in your favor. I will also be featuring songs that pertain to the laws themselves in 3 song sets. The 12 universal laws are as real and as unbiased as the law of gravity. They apply to everyone and everything. There's no escaping them. There's no way to avoid them. They're here, they're real, and they are governing your life and life around you. You can, however, control how they influence your life because at the end of the day, you are the creator of your own reality. And with the knowledge of these laws and how they operate, you can use them to create the reality you want. And you really can have and achieve anything you want. Our 5 senses allow us to see, feel, taste, touch, and hear. And we rely on these senses constantly. Not only do we rely on them, we believe what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch, what we feel. The physical world. But what about the non-physical? We have a harder time believing the non-physical because we don't see, touch, feel, or hear it. Hearing's kind of iffy because, you can hear radio airwaves, right? So how can something non-physical exist, though? Your consciousness exists, does it not? But do you see it? And again, radio airwaves. We can turn the dial to different frequencies and pick up sounds. Or when you flip the light switch at home and your light turns on. And once again, I will use gravity as an example. We don't see gravity, but we see the effect, don't we? So all the things that I just described, we see the effect of them, of the non-physical. We know it's there. We will see the effects of these 12 universal laws almost always, and the causes come from you. In fact, one of the universal laws is the law of cause and effect. The most popular, well-known universal law these days, however, is the law of attraction. It is a law I hold near and dear to my heart and have been a student of for over 15 years. It is a fundamental part of life, just like the other 11 that we will discuss on this show. And as for the law of attraction, it is going to be a big part of Celestial Sundays. Like I said, I am passionate about it, and I'm always going to be finding reasons to bring it up because, like I said, it is a fundamental part of life. And in studying this divine secret, I was steered towards the study of the other 11 laws, and it really opened the door for some powerful manifestation. The goal here is to create and live a life of joy, abundance, love, and positivity. That's the ultimate experience, is it not? It's what we all want, at least on some level, I would think. It's our divine right and true nature to live a life like I just described, and we should be doing everything in our power to do so. So I'm incredibly excited to expand on that through discussing the 12 universal laws. The first law that we will be discussing is the law of divine oneness. But before we get into that law, let's play some music. It's Sunday morning, it's Labor Day weekend, let's get some tunes going. Today I'm going to feature songs that pertain to each law we discussed today, as I mentioned before. So being as how the first law we will discuss is the universal law of divine oneness, let's start the first 3 song set with Bob Marley's One Love. All right, so we just heard Sly and the Family Stone with Everyday People, and before that we heard U2 with One. Sly Stone wrote that song about how everyone is essentially the same, regardless of race or background, and Sly and the Family Stone was a mashup of musical styles with band members of different genders and ethnic backgrounds. So in adding to the spirit of the song's message of solidarity among all people, Sly added the lyrics, "Makes no difference what group I'm in," and it couldn't be more true from the standpoint of spiritual law. The law of divine oneness. What does it mean? Everything is connected and everything is affected by everything else. That includes you. We are a part of this universe, of the universe, and our energies are connected because our vibrations are connected to our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and actions, and they have an effect on everything to some degree. It creates a ripple effect out into the world, whether it is something we say, something we feel, something we do. It is cast out through our vibration. Because this affects everyone and everything to some degree, it is best to try to vibrate at a higher frequency. What does that mean? It's basically to feel and emit an energy of love and acceptance, to be compassionate, forgiving, and kind. When you do this, your vibration frequency is raised naturally, and your effect on the world is a positive one. Typically, we react to a situation on autopilot, but this can be a great disadvantage for us. If we just take a second to pause and take a breath, be mindful, and respond from a place of patience and love, the better it is. We're all human, and no one is without fault. No one is perfect. You know what comes to mind when I think about the law of divine oneness? Namaste. I'm sure you've heard the greeting. At the base level, Namaste is a salutation of respect and reverence. It's a traditional Indian greeting and a Sanskrit word that literally translates to bow me you or I bow to you. But it is more than that. Its reverence is deeper than just bowing. Namaste means the sacred in me recognizes the sacred in you, or when you and I bow to our true nature, we are one. My soul recognizes your soul. We are the same. We are one. So I cannot think of a better way to sum up the law of divine oneness. The second law that I'm going to talk about next, obviously, is the law of vibration. This is very, very important. This is fundamental stuff when it comes to spiritual law. Everything has a unique vibrational frequency. I just spoke about our personal frequency and the vibrations we emit. This law covers that. Everything, and I mean everything, is vibrating at some sort of frequency. Even your dining room table, it may be a very low vibration, but it still emits something. There is a measure of frequency there, and these frequencies can be measured in megahertz and angstroms. So think about your body and what it takes just to function. Your body is constantly working, doing things to keep you healthy and functioning with you not even consciously thinking about it. That's a lot of energy. Then think of the things you are consciously doing, the exertion of those actions, whether it's typing a word out with your thumbs on the phone, cutting vegetables, or speaking, or even exercising. That's more energy. A single thought can actually be scientifically measured now. We can see the spark of a thought thanks to science and technology. All of those things emit a frequency. That's very powerful. But the type of frequency you emit is going to profoundly affect your life. The easiest way to gauge your frequency is by how you feel. Anger, resentment, jealousy, sadness, bitterness are low vibrations, hence the saying, feeling low. Whereas feelings of joy, gratitude, love, and excitement are high vibrations. These emit a strong, high frequency out into the world. These frequencies really are the root and base of our entire existence. What you radiate is what you get back. Law of attraction. Have you ever been around someone who is always complaining, judgmental, just a bad attitude, just never in a good mood? Can always find the negative in everything. Does it feel good to be around them? Usually not. You ever notice they hang around like-minded people? Birds of a feather flock together. They feel comfortable in that low vibrational frequency, and usually their lives match their attitude. When you feel good when you're around someone who is happy, where you feel good when you're around someone who is happy, warm, upbeat, kind, and loving, you feel that good vibe when around them, and their life is usually a very happy one. So much rides on the frequency we emit. It can be life-changing when we learn to raise our vibration and make it our default. If you are someone who struggles with feeling good, one of the easiest and best ways to change that is to start and end each day with gratitude. Try to feel that feeling of gratefulness throughout the day. We can be grateful for the smallest things, but just by focusing on how appreciative we are of a few things, we emit a frequency of gratitude, and gratitude is rooted in love and joy. Gratitude truly is the best attitude. The trick is you really, really gotta feel it. You gotta feel it. So every morning before I get out of bed, right after I wake, I try to spend about 17 seconds thinking about how blessed I am to have another day of life, how grateful I am to have loving, supportive people in my life, even how grateful I am for my blanket and pillow. And instead of thinking, oh, I don't want to go to work, I think, I get to work today. I get to make money today. Who knows what new experience I will have today? I am excited to see what this day holds, even if I'm going to the same place that I go 5 days out of the week. Who knows what today holds for me? By flipping a few words and starting a new narrative right at the beginning of the day, starting the day with those thoughts of gratitude, it immediately pulses out a higher frequency into the universe. And you've been awake for what, 20 seconds? Using the law of frequency to get correctly tuned in is a fundamental way to be the master of your own life experience. The next law I want to talk about, the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. This law is about how the outer world is a reflection of our inner world. This law shows us that our reality is a result of our innermost dominant thoughts. This law is incredibly important, especially in regards to the law of attraction, because it covers our relationship with our inner self and outer self and the thoughts we project, how we communicate with ourselves internally and externally. It is the law of correspondence after all, right? So this principle expresses the idea that there is always a correspondence between the laws of phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The words we say and the thoughts we think create our experience. All planes of existence are connected and in correspondence. The smallest acts influence the greatest goal. The outer world through our eyes reflects your inner world. Remember the low vibe type of person I mentioned? Their mindset and inner correspondence with themselves is one of negativity. And when they look out into the world, they see the bad. They judge, they moan, they whine, or act hateful. And if something goes wrong, which happens a lot to them, weird, they focus on it and give it power. It's bad vibes. Their outside perspective matches their thoughts and feelings on the inside. As within, so without. The same goes for the person with a good attitude. They have a grateful, loving disposition, and their inner dialogue is optimistic. So their outside reality mirrors that. They look out into the world and see beauty. They appreciate differences. They practice namaste. And when something good happens, again, this happens often for them because that's the vibe they're putting out. They rejoice in their good fortune, no matter how small it is, and they feel love and gratitude. So in turn, they're going to get more of that. So are you starting to see how all of the laws, and I've only mentioned 3 so far, link to one another? The law of correspondence is your mirror, your tangible proof of your frequency at work. That being said, let's play another 3 songs, shall we? So we just discussed vibration, correspondence, and I'm thinking what we should play next is Beach Boys' Good Vibrations. That was Stevie Wonder and his classic Signed, Sealed, Delivered, a perfect song to represent the law of correspondence. Before that, Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop This Feeling. That song is all about the good vibes. He even says, I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Yes, most excellent. Okay, so the next law I want to discuss is the law of cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. This is a law that I think about often in regards to karma, because as we discussed last week, karma, or was it the week before? I'm not sure. But we did touch on karma and while we were discussing natal charts, and karma is often misunderstood or described incorrectly. Karma actually means action, work. It also refers to this very spiritual principle of cause and effect, where intent and actions of an individual, the cause, influence the future of that individual, the effect. So whatever you do, there will be a reward, a consequence, or reaction, regardless of when something happens that makes something else happen. Like, it doesn't matter. You do something, it's going to have an effect. So, for example, you were late to work because you ignored your alarm. The cause was no alarm to wake you, and the effect was you being late. And who knows how much more that affected your day or your coworkers, right? Or how about something as simple as your skin? I know that sounds weird, but let's look at this here. Your skin, it's clear and luminous. That's an effect of you drinking a lot of water and avoiding sugar and using good skincare, the cause. Another example, you compliment someone on something they made. You really love it. You're impressed by their talent. So you tell them, hey, you should sell that or make more of those. I'd like to buy one. Not only have you made someone feel good, but the effect of your suggestion, maybe they have another avenue to make some money. Your compliment and encouragement inspired them to sell. The cause was you. The effect was their branching out. We go through our days being governed by the law of cause and effect non-stop. No one is immune from the law of cause and effect, just like all the other laws. Every choice you make in action you take is going to have an equal or greater reaction. So this is where mindfulness again comes into play. Are you going to let that small, inconsequential irritation get to you to where you do something that's going to create an effect from it that may ripple out into the universe? Remember the law of divine oneness? We're all one. Taking that brief moment to just take a deep breath, be mindful, and consider your options is a great way to harness the power of the 12 spiritual laws, the cause and effect being a very important one here. So next is the law of action. Manifestation requires aligned action. It would be great if we could just sit back and think and feel, oh, I want to be incredibly rich and not do anything about it. But hey, I thought all I had to do was think and feel good. No, we cannot manifest without action. Sure, we can think and feel all the good thoughts and emit a high frequency, but by not taking an action to work with the universe, not much will happen. Our actions should match our thoughts and desires. Here's the best part though. Usually action, if aligned with your true desire, will inspire you into action. So it's called exactly that, inspired action. And the universe sparks the idea in your mind. And inspired action rarely ever feels like a chore. It's usually something fun or exciting to align with your desire. More often than not, one small action is all that is needed. One small action is enough to make an issue disappear or lead to another action that could bring you closer to the fruition of your dream or goal. The universe will rearrange and orchestrate things to attune to the frequency you give off, good or bad. It has to. It's the law. But if you are trying to manifest something, it needs you to do your part, and that is some sort of action. Whether it be small, like sending a text or email, or asking someone a question, or creating something, if it aligns with your wish and is working towards accomplishing a goal, the universe responds due to your cooperation. Action is a crucial part of creation. The law of action is usually an inspired action. You ever have the hunch to take the long way home? Or go do something you don't normally do on a free afternoon? Next thing you know, you've met someone or you've seen something that could help or aid in your attainment of your goal. So then you take the next step. You are abiding by the law of action, and you might not even realize it. And also, the law of cause and effect is in work too. By taking action, it caused you to do something, right? Which then had its effects. They're all interconnected. Next is the law of compensation. You are rewarded for right action. This is another law commonly confused with karma. It's the old adage of you reap what you sow. You get what you give is a key universal law. Doing what is right or good is always going to be met with reward. That reward may not be immediate, it rarely is, but it will come to you and you may not even realize it was tied to your original act of doing right. However, there is a catch. Doing right just to get compensated for it is a negative energy because it's selfish and it will absolutely affect your reward. You probably won't get one. So we have to be doing things because it feels good, because being of service to others is righteous and just. Not to mention helping others is one of the most rewarding feelings in and of itself. And when you feel good from being of service to others, you emit a frequency of pure joy, which in turn aligns you with the things that match that vibrational frequency. So that is going to bring you more things that make you feel that joy. And by doing something good with pure intent, it will bring a wonderful reward because you're not acting for yourself. You are doing a selfless act. The universe must respond, and it will. So how do you use the law of compensation for good in your life without doing it for the pure purpose of being rewarded? It's simple, and it's actually incredibly easy to do. Be kind, be joyful. Try to leave your impression in this world that is one of joy. When people think of you, we want it to be one of good feelings, right? When you give of yourself, whether it be with your time, your money, your attention, or skills with no motive other than to be helpful, you are adding to the world's joy. You are raising frequencies. This can be as simple as a smile to someone passing by you, or holding the door for someone to acknowledge another person's presence who maybe doesn't get acknowledged as much, to practice good manners, to look someone in the eye, pay it forward, to pray, whatever that means to you for others, to donate, to help someone move, to lend a hand. There are so many ways, big and small. The universe will always reward your good behavior, and the warm fuzzies you feel generate high frequencies, which bring you more experiences that give you more of those warm fuzzy feelings of happiness. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the law of compensation. And the next law I want to discuss before we play some more music is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. It's a mouthful. Energy, as most of us know, is always moving and changing. Energy is everything, and energy is always moving. Like I said, it is continually working to become something physical instead of only staying in the unseen realm, the non-physical. When we think a thought and it invokes a feeling within us, this is energy in motion. This is the beginning of manifestation. Everything that exists in this world started with a thought. This is how things come to exist. Like I mentioned before, when I was talking about the law of frequency or vibration, we can actually see a thought spark now. We are seeing energy in motion. When we create these thoughts, which trigger emotions, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy dictates that it must become something in our physical world. It must. Energy is always moving, it changes, and it manifests in different ways. After all, energy can be changed from one form to another, but it cannot be created or destroyed. So that is why it is imperative we be concise and sure of what we want and to feel good and excited about it. The thought and emotions are an energy that must be transmuted from non-physical to physical. It's the law. But always a but. If you waver and have inconsistent thoughts, doubts being a major trigger, it is impossible for something to materialize into the physical out of uncertain and irregular energy. It's not sending a clear signal. In order to properly manifest and apply the law of transmutation of energy to work for us properly, we must be consistent with our intentions and the feelings that accompany them so we can allow the universe to create for us. Whatever it is you desire, whether it be good health, abundance, your dream job, no matter what it is, if you are feeling doubtful or unworthy, you're sending a mixed signal to the universe, and it is our biggest self-sabotaging act as humans. By being aware of this, we really can turn thoughts into things, but we have to be solid. My good friend Seth calls it Mr. Doubt. You can have a thought and a feeling. And, you know, we think so many thoughts throughout the day, right? Thousands of thoughts pass through our mind. But sometimes there's one thought that's like, ooh, I like that. That's a good idea. And it evokes a certain feeling within us. And then that thought leads to another thought. And that feeling, the feeling gets bigger and better, and it's exciting. This is the beginning of manifestation. But then something happens. Mr. Doubt creeps in. Well, are you? Shh, quiet, Mr. Doubt. You got to shut Mr. Doubt down. Mr. Doubt is the one that sabotages everything. Humans are so good at thinking about what they don't want. We got to let that go. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy can do its job very well and very quickly if we ignore doubt and we just think, yes, this is what I want. It is coming. This is what I want. No doubt. Sometimes easier said than done, but it is possible, and we do it all of the time. Okay, so let's take a little break. We just talked about the universal law of cause and effect, the universal law of compensation, and the universal law of perpetual transmutation of energy. So I think that it's time to play some music, and we're going to start off this 3-song set with Yes, I've Seen All Good People. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those classics. I am a child of the 80s, and I absolutely love that last song, which is, of course, St. Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion by John Parr. My boyfriend loves that song too. He is so cool. And before that, John Lennon with Instant Karma. Okay, let's get back into the laws, the 12 spiritual laws. And the next one is the law of relativity. It's all relative. What does that mean exactly? It means everything is neutral, and individual perception is the key here. To think of everything as neutral can be a challenge, but it really does come down to our individual perception. Let's say someone is from Southern California and it's about 70 degrees outside, so they may think it's chilly out, but someone visiting from a super cold climate like Siberia or Alaska may think it's quite nice and mild. It's all relative. What do we each place value on? We all have different values and perceptions. I saw this example online and I thought it was perfect, so I'm going to share it with you now. A common saying here in the US is one man's trash is another man's treasure. Why is the saying a truism? Because in matters of value, people have different and relative standards by which to evaluate. For example, person X considers a rare gold fountain pen that cost him $100,000 a real treasure, but a chewed up and dull pencil mere trash. On the other hand, person Y, who is on a desert island with a bottle, a cork, a piece of paper, that same gold fountain pen without ink, and the same chewed up pencil, would consider the pen trash and the pencil worth its weight in gold. I thought that was a great example of relativity. So how does this work in terms of spiritual law? It lies within gratitude, and gratitude is a major key component in mastering the 12 universal laws to get the best life experience. I am telling you, if you can master the attitude of gratitude, your life will level up so quickly. It will be startling. So with the law of relativity, it is important to remember that we should be grateful for what we have and have a deeper compassion for the tougher parts of our lives. When we start comparing and being ungrateful, it robs us of our happiness. Comparison really is the thief of joy. For example, if you're feeling bad about a particular situation, let's say with your home, it's usually because you're comparing your arrangements with someone else's. Your home may be older and in need of minor repairs. You see a friend's beautiful new house online. She's posting pictures of it, and you feel embarrassed by your older home. You start to feel negative feelings about your home, instead of being thankful that you have a home, a well-lived-in, loved home filled with memories. But your friend, they have a brand new home, but they're also paying a massive mortgage payment, and they're dealing with an HOA that is a nightmare, and they have a super nosy neighbor, and We don't know all the ins and outs, and our perception and the things we place value on can heavily influence our moods. So instead of comparing, we should be appreciating what we have without needing to compare it to something else. Because when you start giving thanks for what you have and focus on the gratitude of having those things, you raise your vibration. So the law of relativity is here to remind us that everything is neutral. The more you practice gratitude, the better your life will become. It's just the law. That's how it goes. Next, the law of polarity. There are two sides to everything. This law states that there is an opposite to everything. Everything is dual. Everything has its poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature. Now, this is kind of crazy, but follow me here. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. So a prime example is hot and cold. Hot and cold are identical in nature. They're temperatures, right? But they're different in degree, literally. So same with hard and soft, good and bad, love, fear, etc. The key is these opposites are all on the same continuum. You cannot have love without the potential for fear. Everything is dual. So things that appear to be opposites are actually two inseparable parts of the same thing. It's in the same continuum. You cannot experience true gratitude, without experiencing the lack of what you are grateful for. If you have ever had your heart broken, it means that you have at least loved before. This is a law that is here for us to gain new perspective, and that perspective is this. If you're capable of one, you're capable of the other. In terms of manifesting, you may not have your desires right now, but it can be right around the corner because it already exists. It's on the same continuum. So let's use finances as an example. Classic, right? There is abundance and there is lack. Let's say right now you are lacking money. Your account is either very low or in the negative. The reality of abundance is there and it's available to you. It exists. And oftentimes, seeing others obtain your desires is what you need to awaken and inspire you to see the possibility for you too. It hopefully spurs you into action. By focusing on the fact that even though some of your desires aren't in your current reality, there are human beings out there whom have accomplished or attained those very desires you want. So the potential is there for you as well too. The law of polarity is a law of potential. It's also what I like to call the big motivator. If we experienced one end of the spectrum on the same continuum, like financial lack, then we know we want to get to the other end of the spectrum, the financial abundance. The experience of one side lights a fire under us to get to the other side. And the next law I want to discuss, the law of rhythm. Nothing is permanent. Change is always happening. Life is a series of ebb and flow. Everything vibrates and moves to a rhythm. Each rhythm establishes patterns, cycles, seasons, and development. We are all in different rhythms in our lives, though we are all in some sort of rhythm. We want to get in the good, high frequency rhythm, right? But it's more than that. We're human beings going through life, experiencing the law of polarity in all realms. Sometimes we ride the wave, other times we're wiped out by it. By being aware of this law, the law of rhythm, you can put yourself in the mode of allowing and knowing that nothing is permanent. We do not have to let the darkness swallow us. We don't have to allow the grief or whatever loss we have experienced destroy us. The law of rhythm is not only a reminder that this is temporary, and going with the flow is an easier pill to swallow, knowing that this too shall pass. But by knowing we have the power to change the course of the current movement in our life by changing our mindset, attitude, and emotions towards something, we can take the lead in the law of rhythm if we apply ourselves correctly. The difficult part of the law of rhythm is when things are hard. Every single human being, rich, poor, old, young, black, white, we all experience hardships of some kind. And when this rhythm of life is in a hard place, it can be hard to steer ourselves into a better rhythm. And this is where I like to think of the other universal laws and how I can apply them to my life to get myself into a better flow so I can alter the law of rhythm. Perhaps the law of relativity. Everything is neutral. Our perspective may be different than someone else's. I remind myself of the law of polarity. All lows have highs. You cannot have darkness without light. And to even just remind myself that the law of rhythm itself is telling me this is temporary. And the law of rhythm is a mirror of what we put out. What did we set in motion with our thoughts and feelings? The law of cause and effect can affect the law of rhythm. Everything is one, is it not? Ah, so beautiful. I love that. I think it's time to play some music. I know I always say that after I go on a spiel. I'm like, it's time for music. So let's play some music that has to do, obviously, with relativity, opposites, and rhythm. Let's play something we haven't heard in a minute. You know what? Actually, I'm going to change it up a bit. I'm going to play a song by a local regional band here to the Pacific Northwest. They're an awesome reggae band. They're incredibly popular, and I can't wait to see them live again. This COVID thing is killing me. It is going to be great when we can all gather and enjoy music together. So this next song, I think this is a great song. And you know what? My boyfriend actually suggested it. We were talking about different songs and what would pertain best to the law of relativity, opposites, rhythm, and he suggested this song, and he was spot on. So without further ado, I'm going to play Rags to Wisdom by Soul Seed. Oh my gosh. Janet is such a badass. I mean, she has such bangarang jams. Like, I love Janet. I love her. You may have noticed I played 4 songs there rather than my usual 3. After Soul Seed, you heard Mr. Wendell by Arrested Development, then Rhythm Is Gonna Get Ya by Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine, and then, of course, Miss Jackson If You Nasty with Rhythm Nation. Okay, so we have 2 laws left. The next one we're going to talk about is the law of gender. The law of gender says that everything and everyone on this planet has both masculine and feminine energies. And much like the law of polarity, it's about opposites. We cannot have one without the other. The yin and yang is a perfect example of the law of gender. So the yin is the feminine energy and the yang is masculine. They both are intertwined, making a whole being. But look closely, and within the feminine lies a small dot of masculine, and within the masculine lies lies a small dot of feminine, representing that both the masculine and feminine are present in the other. It is in everything. Feminine energy is much like the planet Venus, which I described in my very first episode. It's a feminine energy. It's giving, receptive, compassionate, empathetic, and it flows inwardly. Where masculinity is like the planet Mars. It's about action, strength, taking, the undertaking of things, outwardly flowing. This has nothing to do with the gender that we identify as humans. This has to do with the actual energies of the world, and that is why I point to the meaning of yin yang. Everything and everyone has feminine and masculine energies. There is a balance there, but the difference here is that each energy does not need to be in equal parts. Some things are more dominantly of a feminine energy, while others are more dominant of a masculine energy. So let's take a look at different languages, such as Spanish. The Spanish language attaches feminine or masculine dominance to things. Words that end with a and usually start with la signify a stronger female energy, whereas words that end with an o signify a stronger male energy. My personal favorite thing about the law of gender is with angels. I am going to talk about angels on this show a lot too. I'm a big believer and I love them very much. Angels are not supposed to be gender specific, but they may present themselves with a more stronger feminine or masculine energy. Prime example is Archangel Michael. He has a definite masculine energy to him, but he's not actually a male. He's an angel. Whereas Archangel Jophiel has a more feminine energy to her, but she's not a female. She's an angel. We just find ourselves saying he and her rather than they because it's just the energy they present. But everything in our universe shares both of these energies, and it's not a law that you can really use to manifest. It's more of just a universal law of being, how things are. It's just how it is, just like the law of gravity. It's just how it is. And finally, the last law and most well-known universal law, the law of attraction. Do you see how all of these laws tie into each other and tie into the law of attraction? They all work together in an intricate tapestry to help us create the best life we could possibly create for ourselves if we just use our minds, emotions, and actions correctly. The law of attraction means that like is attracted to like. Negative thoughts bring negativity. Positive thoughts bring positivity. Basically, the law of attraction states that what you focus on is what you will attract into your life. So this is why it is paramount to focus on the good and positive in your life so that your life is filled with positive experiences. Now, I know we are living a life, and we've talked about the law of polarity and how we experience lack, or the law of rhythm, how we're going to experience things that aren't always great and how it's temporary. We are going to feel lower vibration emotions because we're only human. The trick is to not hold on to them. Acknowledge them and let them pass. Don't focus on them. What you focus on is what you bring about. So try to get those under control and out of the way to move on, because it's not fair to say that we have to be positive all the time. It's not fair, and it's highly unrealistic. But the point is you want to try and remain optimistic and as positive as possible and not let those lower vibrations drag you down. So acknowledge them, know that they're there, and then let them go. Don't give them your focus and attention. Too much. So the law of attraction was brought to the mainstream by the documentary and book, The Secret. It's a great introduction to this law, but it goes so much deeper. My personal favorite and most famous educator on the subject is Abraham via Esther Hicks. If you're unfamiliar with her work, please do yourself a favor and check out her books and videos. YouTube has thousands of them. It's excellent. That's all I'm going to say. We can dive deeper into Abraham and Esther Hicks in other episodes, which we most definitely will. But let me tell you, we really can truly create the reality we want. A lot of people get hung up on the word realistic. Let me tell you, that word can either trap you or free you. I personally don't like the word. I don't like the word realistic. It places barriers and ceilings, barriers around us, ceilings on top of us that are wholly and unequivocally, I can never say that word. It's like it's in my mind and I'm trying to get it out. Unequivocally. Send help. Someone come say that word for me. Anyway, the word realistic places barriers on us that are wholly non-existent until you create them. You create your own version of realistic, plain and simple. You place limitations on yourself. This is a huge disservice. You are a divine being. You are worthy of all that is good and abundant. But the world has conditioned us to think we're not. And that is utterly and fully false. We can achieve and do anything we want. We just have to believe and have unwavering faith in ourselves. Look around you at people that are doing the things you want to do. They are also only human. They're just like you. We're all one, right? We're all connected. They did not place a barrier on themselves. They did not use the word realistic. Ditch that word. Ditch it. It's going to do nothing but favors for you to ditch that word. My boyfriend and I have recently been deeply affected by a quote that I found. And the quote presents a hypothetical situation that absolutely shook me and him. And this is that quote. Someone once told me the definition of hell. The last day you have on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. Oh my God. This would be hell. Imagine being face to face with yourself. You're looking yourself in the eye, your eyes. But the version of yourself that didn't doubt themselves or listen to others' influence or opinion or place barriers on themselves, they knew what they wanted and they did it. You, that version of you, knew what they wanted and they did it. They thought positive. They felt good. They felt confident. They muted the background noise, the naysayers, and they moved full steam ahead, and the universe answered their call and moved with them, for them, and in surprising, beautiful ways. This is possible. This isn't a fantasy. But will you answer your higher self's call? Will you sit in an autopilot and just settle and let the 12 universal laws do what they want and just go through life without really trying? Or will you find a way to shift your mindset to bring about a more enjoyable life experience? Or are you going to wallow in the lower vibrations and let them rule you? Either way, the law of attraction is going to give you what you focus on and believe. I could go on and on about the law of attraction, and I'm here to say I fully intend to. I do. It's going to be a huge component of this show. But my purpose in today's show was to discuss the 12 universal laws and how they all tie into each other and how they can help us live our very best lives. It all comes down to thinking and feeling good and being grateful. Our frequency, we admit, is our boomerang into the world. What we put out, we get back. I know this was only a brief and fairly mild description of the law of attraction, but I promise you, we will discuss this further. I know I've mentioned that numerous times. I'm guessing most people already know about the law of attraction, and it's my hope that with the knowledge of the other 11 spiritual laws, you can really harness the power of these laws and yield them to manifest your ultimate desires and create the ultimate reality to attain the best life experience. Here's the thing, guys. I think this is very important and very special. And I don't know if there are people in your life that are making you aware of this or if you are aware, but I want to be the person to make you aware. And that is, there is no one like you. No one on this planet that is like you. You are unique, you are different, and you are special. And that is your superpower. You do not have to settle for anything. If you don't like it, if it doesn't feel right, if it's not what you want, you don't have to keep it. You don't have to hold on to it. It takes courage to let go of things that we're comfortable with, even if they aren't serving us. But when you find the courage and you're brave enough to step out and to actually follow your dreams, or do the things that you want to do and not listen to anyone's opinions or judgments, then the universe will open up to you because it's you following your divine path. It's you honoring your divine being. Your higher self is being honored and the universe is going to respond and is going to help you. And I promise you, once you get over that hurdle and you start going for it, who cares what people think? Who cares what people say? Are they living your life? Are they experiencing your reality? Everyone's reality is different. They're experiencing their own. Let them judge. It's an awful, expensive, what's the saying? It's an awful, expensive ticket for someone in the cheap seats. It's an awful expensive opinion for someone in the cheap seats. That's what it is. Sorry. Took me a second to get there. But if you think about it, that's true. Who cares what people think? Their opinion is they're in the cheap seats. They're not living your reality. You may have something you want to do that might sound crazy or outlandish to someone. And then there's going to be someone like me that's like, heck yeah, you can do this. And you're going, where do I start? Well, it all starts with gratitude and love. By emitting that frequency of gratitude and love, you will start to have things happen. Things will be put in motion. The universe will dismantle the old to make way for the new to be built. That being said, I got long-winded and went a little bit on a tangent there. But I'm going to play the final songs for the day. And I just wanted to thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with me on this Labor Day weekend. I hope I was able to teach you something, or even better, inspire you. I hope you enjoy the rest of this day and enjoy the next songs I'm going to play. I'm actually going to play more than 3. I think I'm going to play about 5 songs. I'm going to start off with The Kinks' Lola, Aerosmith, Dude Looks Like a Lady, a little tip of the hat there to the Law of Gender. And then I'm going to play Magnets by Disclosure featuring Lord, which is a nice wink to Law of Attraction, magnets, you know. And then after that, Natasha Bedingfield with Unwritten, and Jackie Wilson with Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher. Again, I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful week, the beautiful, blessed day. Be well and be kind.